If you guys see the title of the video, you know what we're about to get ourselves into. This conversation is one that I've always wanted to have on this channel, so I guess this is the time to have it. So let's get into it. So if you see the title of this video, you know we're talking about body counts. And what prompted me to make this video was in the news this week, I saw that Cam Newton was again trending. You know, his podcast usually always trends based on something he said or something one of his guests said. I don't really have time to watch the podcast myself, but I do hear when something is trending on it. So this week, Cam Newton made the statement, or he was having a conversation saying that he would like to know who his partner has slept with and how many bodies she has, so on and so forth. So of course, that prompted the internet to have the whole conversation surrounding body count, which is not a new conversation, by the way. So before I jump into my opinion and all the hoopla, I want to roll the clip real quick. So let's get into it.
I wanted to know her list.
Of who she fucked?
I want to know.
Addresses?
I needed to know. I have
Oh
to.
my God.
And I'm gonna tell you why though.
I get it though, because that is, I'll let you finish, but I think I get it.
I want to know because before I sit up here and really keep moving and elevating our relationship, I want to know who got one up on me. And if I'm willing to take on that burden, because why I want to know? If you had any type of relationship, intimacy, experiences with people that I really know, I need to know that. I'm owed that. Because if you don't give me that, you got me, hey y'all, this my girl, and you got somebody over there in that corner like, that nigga don't know. What's up, my boy? You good? She bad, ain't she? Yeah, that's mine. Baby, you want some juice? You want some punch?
All right, so now that you guys saw the clip that has the whole internet going crazy right now. Of course, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments, but I'm just going to share my quick opinion on that. You know, Cam Newton and a lot of these guys, right? They work in very close quarters. You know, the industry is not as big as people like to make it out to be. So if you're working in the sports industry or the entertainment industry or anything kind of tied into that, you know, I kind of look at sports, entertainment, pop culture, all as kind of one thing. That world is not as big as people make it out to be. So essentially what Cam was saying is that if he's getting involved with his wife or potential wife or partner, he would like to know, hey, am I going to run into somebody that you've had a past encounter with? And if so, I would like to have a heads up on that. You know, that's essentially what he was saying. So a lot of people heard that and took that as like an insecure thing, but from a business standpoint and working in that industry, I do understand why you would want to know, because you don't necessarily, as a guy, like as a man, right? You don't want to work with somebody and in the back of their head like, yo, I had your wife. Like nobody wants that. I don't care who you are. Nobody wants that. So I do understand where he's coming from in that regard, but I do want to kind of talk about body counts as a whole and, you know, why this conversation keeps resurfacing year after year. It doesn't matter. How do you navigate it? Blah, blah, blah. So I guess let me get into my thoughts about body count as a whole. And yeah, let's talk about it. So to answer the overarching question, does body count matter? The short answer is yes. And that is not coming from me, but just based on how this conversation always tends to resurface, no matter what, the short answer is yes, because if it didn't matter, we wouldn't even be talking about it. It wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. It wouldn't even be a debate amongst people. So the short answer is obviously people care. Obviously, the answer is yes. Now, to the extent that you care may vary from person to person, depending how liberal you are, how you view sex, your relationship with sex, how you view, you know, casual relations, all that plays a part, right? So, you know, just because one person views it one way does not make the opposite view of that incorrect. And that leads me to my next point. I believe people should have whatever preference that they want for the partner they're potentially going to invest in. So what I mean by that is, if you are dating with intention, notice I said dating with intention, right? By the way, I have another video coming up on why I don't really care about dating nowadays, but that's a whole nother topic. But if you are dating with a purpose, dating with intention, especially as a man, I think it is very important for you to have a set standard for yourself and a set standard for the partner that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So if somebody has a standard of they want their partner to be, I don't want to use the word pure, but if they want a partner that is not necessarily as inclined to having casual relations or just being with a lot of people, and you know, they have every right to have that personal preference, right? I have no problem with that, you know? And it goes both ways for both men and women. Men can have that standard for the women they're dating, and women can have that standard for the men that they're dating. I don't see any issue with that whatsoever. Now where it kind of gets misconstrued is the whole double standard, right? So a lot of women will argue, hey, you know, why is it that I have to withhold myself, but with the man that I'm potentially going to date don't have to withhold himself? That just comes from a difference of how men and women view, I guess, sex and just casual sex in general. So that double standard is not a new thing. That has been around since I've been a child, middle school, high school, college, all throughout my life. That double standard has existed. The guy who is involved with the most girls is seen as like the top of the social food chain, versus a woman who sleeps around with a lot of guys. She's at the bottom of that social food thing. That has always been a thing as long as I've been alive, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Now, no matter how liberal we get as a society, no matter how forward we think we're thinking, I think that underlying dynamic is always going to be there, right? Now, I don't necessarily feel that way personally, but I'm just going by what I see out in the world. And of course, I would love to hear you guys talk about this down in the comment section down below. But that's just how I view it, and I don't really think it's going to change anytime soon, because again, these conversations keep coming up time and time and time again. So, should you care about body count in this modern dating society in 2025, 2026, and so on and so forth? Well, the answer is, like I alluded to earlier, it all depends on you. What can you handle as an individual, and are you being realistic in your wants, right? So let's just be honest. If you are my age or older, which is 30 plus, I'm not going to give away my age, but if you are my age or older, the likelihood of you running into a virgin or somebody with zero bodies or very little bodies is very slim, especially here in the United States, right? You know, you have to understand, we grew up in a very hypersexualized society. I remember in middle school watching the Tip Drill video on BET Uncut, and just listen to the lyrics of songs, and Girls Gone Wild, and Spring Break, and the MTV era, Jersey Shore, all that which promoted hypersexuality and casual relations. So now that we have the results of that, presumably, you know, you have to ask yourself, you know, what am I asking for? Is it realistic, right? So for some people, yeah, it just depends on where you look. And like I said, if you're dating with intention, you'll find exactly what you're looking for as long as you don't settle. Now, the next thing is, should you judge someone based off of their past experiences? My personal answer is no, but of course we're all human. So people are naturally going to judge people whether you do it subconsciously or you do it consciously, right? So again, I think the natural gut reaction for most guys when they hear a woman has a high sexual body count or a high, you know, casual sex nature, it's like their stomach turns, right? And that's more biological. I think I've read, and I can't remember where I read this at, somebody in the comments can let me know, that when it comes to men looking down on women with high body counts, so say, it's more biological. So it's more so has to do with paternity than anything else, because again, if a woman is hypersexual, has multiple partners, you can't guarantee that the child that you're bearing is yours. I think that's exactly where it comes from. It's an animalistic thing. Like I said, I read it somewhere, and I'm not too sure where that source is. So once I find it, I may just note it in the notes down below. But I do remember reading that, and I'm also remember reading that people who have higher numbers of casual sex partners have a much harder time maintaining a solid relationship as they get older, or long-term relationships. So that may draw some correlation there why some people dislike it. But I just feel like, in my personal opinion, if you're dating someone, I don't even think the topic of body count should even come up. I feel like if you guys are rocking out and she is giving you every reason for you to trust her, and it goes both ways. It goes both ways. You guys are rocking, you guys are solid, I don't think body count should even be a factor, because we all have a past. Remember that. So, You know, the same standard that you want to hold her up to or him up to, make sure that you also meet those same standards. But again, do not allow something this trivial to block what could possibly be a great relationship, you know? So anyway, I just want to come on camera really quick. I haven't seen you guys in a while, but I did want to hop on camera and kind of talk about this. Let me know down in the comments what you think overall. Does body count matter? Do you care? What do you think about the Cam Newton conversation? Is it insecurity? All that good stuff. Drop a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time, all right? Peace.